This is Duke University.
Well, this is a special show, and I'm not sure it's a show that's done in any other football or basketball program in the United States, because our special guest is the president of our university, President Dick Brodhead, and welcome to the show.
Thanks.
And
my pleasure.
Yeah, you know, go ahead.
I'll be a TV star.
Yeah, well, you are a star, and you know, Dick, one of the things that I've loved about Duke University in my 31 years here is the fact that in each of the presidents that I've been fortunate to serve under have developed a great relationship with sports and have opened their arms up to me and our basketball program.
That's right.
Coming from Yale, was that a difficult thing to do, or?
Well, you know, people don't do justice to the fact there's athletics everywhere.
Yes.
And there's athletics at Yale. And actually, Yale's hockey team was ranked #1 in the country this year. So my wife and I were big college sports fans long before we came here. But of course, I never saw anything like Duke basketball until I came to Duke. You know, we'd watched it on TV, but that's just not the same. And really, it just doesn't take long. You know, just the fun of it, the electricity of it. And then I think probably what every president appreciates is the fact that this is a place where basketball symbolizes the things we're trying to do all across the school, right? It's about people trying to do not pretty well, but supremely well, to perform up to the highest level of their talent, and all the hard work that goes into that, and all the joy that comes when you hit that goal.
When you, in the time that you've been president here, your opinion of the combination of academics and athletics at a BCS level school. We are a BCS level school. You know, what has changed in your opinion, if anything, in the time that you've been here?
I think the longer I'm here, the more you appreciate how the parts hang together. You know, I think there are a lot of universities where athletics is in one world, academics are in another world. This is a place where, you know, our campus is great. All the parts are right next to each other. I can come out of my office and take one turn, and in 2 minutes I'm in one of the greatest medical schools in the country. If I take a left turn instead of a right turn, in 3 minutes I'm in your office. So everything is right there. But when I come, you know, I love to watch students yelling and screaming, but when I look down in that crowd, you know where my seat is, you know I've got a good one.
You're right there.
I recognize, you know, somebody I will have seen in a physics lab in the afternoon is there with their face painted at night. So it all hangs together. And, you know, I'll just always remember the year when Teddy Kennedy came here for his cancer surgery. Well, he had his choice of anywhere in the country and some very famous hospitals in his own place, but he came to Duke for that treatment. And of course, the doctor who treated him is somebody I can see anytime I go to a basketball game. So it's phenomenal.
It's always there.
Yeah. So I think we all appreciate the fact that every part of the place tries to live up to the same standards, and every part of the place gives us an image of what we're working for everywhere else.
Yeah, I'm not sure if our viewers realize a decision that you made, which I think is an incredibly good decision, when Kevin White came on as our athletics director. He's not only the athletic director, but he's a vice president of the university. What does that mean when you're both of those things?
Well, weren't we lucky when Kevin came?
Yeah, we are really lucky.
You know, Kevin has been at a lot of schools. I think you could argue that Kevin is to university ADs what you are to college basketball coaches. That's a compliment to him, but it's a compliment to us all. A person of incredible experience, but also who just such a passion for kids and for the educational dimension of sports. Kevin just he has a real head. When I have my cabinet sitting around, you like people who come at it from different perspectives, but they don't just, Kevin doesn't just talk about athletics, he talks about every university issue. I want him to be schooled in all our issues, and I want to hear his contributions to them.
But by being a vice president, he can sit at that table.
You bet he does.
But that's your decision. To me, that was, I'm not sure every athletic director in the United States is also a vice president.
Well, as I say, I didn't study the org charts everywhere. I just did
Right.
what I thought would make sense for
No,
me and for this university. The thing I guess I particularly love about college basketball is every year there's new people. You hear about them, but when they come, the best player in the world is still new and they still have to grow. And then when you just see the growth, look how fantastically Nolan is playing this year.
Right.
But of course, I remember what fun it was the first time he ever walked on the court of Cameron, but that guy has really grown between then and now. And I guess I'll just ask you about one player. We all watched Brian Zuvek. We all knew him. We all loved him. We all respected him. And he had the health challenges and other such things. But if I think of all the people, and my first year was the year that JJ and Sheldon were so great and all of that, of all the players who just at a certain point, you just watch them take a big step up and stay at that level. So what did you do?
Well, yeah, it's interesting you bring him up. I just did a pretty long interview with Sports Illustrated. They're going to do a big thing during the tournament about the Duke Butler game.
Okay.
And obviously Brian is
right.
a star in that.
That's right.
And what I said to them was, I don't think there's any kid that I've ever coached that I'm more proud of where he ended up. And the very first thing is he was good to the younger players the start of his senior year with the Plumleys. He was helping them all the time. And then all of a sudden he got it. He had it a little pretty good, but then he got it. And he was thrust into a starting position. And once he got it, his ego, although he might score 5 points a game and he got a lot of rebounds, was as good as Shire's ego.
That's right.
And so his role on the team, he celebrated. And in the national championship game in the last couple of minutes, he was the difference maker.
It's amazing.
It is.
It's amazing.
And I love Zoobs, and his identification with the fans and everything.
Sure.
It's interesting you bring him up because I've been talking so much about him.
Well, not that I couldn't bring up many others, but in my childhood I played cards a lot, and in a deck there aren't that many cards, but you can put them together in infinite combinations. And I think that's what I feel when I come to your games. We're never good the same way twice.
Well, we're always looking for different combinations because, as a teacher,
that's right.
Kids
That's
grow.
Right.
If you put them in a box, they'll take the shape of a box.
That's exactly right.
But if you give them room to grow, they might fill a lot of boxes.
That's right.
Like
That's
a
right.
youngster right now who's doing that for us, Tyler Thornton.
Of course. Look how fantastic he's been.
And with Kyrie was healthy,
That's right.
there's a good chance Tyler's just not going to play very
right.
much. All of a sudden, he's not all right.
That's right.
And Tyler went on a different diet. He's worked hard, and all of a sudden, in 2 of our ACC road wins, he was the difference maker.
That's right.
And those are the beautiful things. Or for him to come in against Maryland at home, and we're kind of a little bit dead in the water.
That's right.
And he comes forward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was thrilling.
Those are the moments people don't realize for a teacher or coach.
And then I saw him and Kyrie and Josh. I was asked to present the award to the freshman.
They're like brothers.
The freshman dorm that had reduced its energy use the most during the Eco Olympics, and the dorm they're in won. So I went to this thing.
Because they're never in it, I think.
Well, maybe because they're never in it. Okay. Maybe they turned the lights out because they go to bed so early. I went there, and here's 70 or 80 students, and of course they were just in there with everybody else. That's just a big happy family. And it is one of the things you love about Duke, that in the spotlight an athlete can stand out, but in another sense they're just part of the family.
It's really one of the big selling points we use in recruiting is that you're in Cameron, and those fans are with you 100%. But when you go on of Cameron, you have to earn your stripes.
Yeah, that's right. It's true.
Yeah, because every kid, we tell every recruit, every kid here is unbelievable.
That's right.
There's
true.
something
That's right.
or some things unbelievable
That's
of it.
exactly
And
right.
if you only do stuff with the unbelievable basketball players, you're missing out on the best thing about Duke. As you look at your presidency and the future of Duke University, how do you see the athletics moving forward in trying to help the,
Sure.
what Duke is doing in advancing?
Not everybody knows the story of Duke. Duke started as a little school called Trinity College, quite a well-known liberal arts school. And then a person who lived in this town who made a very great deal of money gave the money to turn the college into a university. And the president of that time, I've spent a lot of time studying this president. This is a smart guy. He had the idea, if you want to make this a distinguished national university, you've got to build the quality and the academic quality, but you've also got to do some things to make it visible from afar.
Right.
And so, so his idea was medicine was a field in which we decided to become as great as we could be, and he went to Johns Hopkins and hired a lot of doctors who became the founders of the Duke Medical School. But then he knew that athletics is also very visible to people who don't know that much about physics or sociology or economics. So that the first building that was functional on the West Campus when Duke was built as a university was Wallace Wade Stadium, and that the president of Duke went to Alabama to hire their football coach.
Right, I knew that. Yeah.
And that wasn't a strategy just for building athletics. That was a strategy for using outstanding athletics to symbolize the level of aspirations for the whole university.
And do you see that now on a global stage?
Hey, you bet I do.
Yeah.
I've noticed that you've spent some time in China and
Yeah,
Turkey.
we've done a lot
I bet you're glad to be home every now and again.
Yeah, we're glad to be home with the gold medals.
Yeah, well,
Both of those.
much more fun to come home with.
But
the
you know
gold
what
medals.
we found?
Did they check those in customs, by the way?
We hit them, so they
Okay.
couldn't be taken. But what we found is that we have a lot of Duke fans all over the world.
Well, not surprising. I've been doing Duke alumni events the last couple of years where I'll just choose somebody from the Duke world and interview them in some city or other. And I interviewed Shane Battier in Houston this fall.
Did you? How did that?
Yeah. Oh, it was so much fun. He's such a smart, articulate
Yeah, he
guy.
is pretty good.
But for him to talk about, Duke is building a significant program in China. China's a big part of the world now. If you want to understand anything, you're going to have to understand the role of a country like China. And to have, he has the big shoe contract or the big shoe
he's
endorsement
huge
in
in China.
Well, that's what he said.
Yeah, they have billboards of Shane Battier.
Billboards of Shane Battier. So my theory is Shane Battier, Mike Krzyzewski, our team. These things will continue to symbolize Duke around the world. But the important thing is, my theory is, this is why you're here and not somewhere else. Is that this university isn't only about athletics. It's about the whole of education, and athletics is an important part of it. And we try to use athletics, as I say, as the most visible, the most public way to image the love of excellence, the love of discipline, the love of the discipline you have to embrace to live up to the best you can do.
When we look at our school, global is a big thing.
Sure.
And when we think globally, like we're going to open up a campus in China, we just had a broadcast of one of our games in Mandarin.
I didn't listen to it because I couldn't have understood it.
Yeah, but how cool is that? And in Duke's future, where is China in what we're doing?
I guess I'd just begin by saying, there was a time when almost every student at Duke came from North Carolina. Then there was probably a time when they came from the Southeast, then from the East Coast, and now, the state that we have the highest number of applications from is California.
Is that right?
And actually probably the fastest growing category of applicants has been international students. I think that now we live in a world where travel is so easy, communication is constant across all these countries, and so the market for talent is now just a global market, and people want to go to the place where there'll be the most other smart, interesting, lively people. And as part of our endlessly trying to draw the best people of all different kinds to this university, you want to plant your flag in places around the world. The other thing I think is anybody who's a college-age student now is going to live in a world where China is a major player,
right?
Financially, economically, diplomatically, everything. So we want students to begin to understand the world so that they can see it from more than one point of view at once, because otherwise they're not going to understand it right.
I'll tell you what, there's no better leader to take us globally than you. I want to tell you in front of all of our viewers that it's been an honor for me to work with you and to have you as my president. You know, I tell coaches around the country, you know, that if they stay at a place for a while, if they're fortunate enough to stay at a place for a long time, there might be a new AD, there might be a new president. And it's up to you work for them, or hopefully they will allow you to work with them.
That's right.
And you've allowed us to work with you.
Well, we all work for Duke.
Yeah, but
We all work for Duke. We all work for the idea.
Yeah, your leadership style is really a good one. It empowers people like Kevin White, myself, Victor Zhao, all the people who had all these.
Well, I appreciate your
places.
compliment. You know, and I know that you're a strict judge of things too.
Yeah.
You know, but of course, the world doesn't know this, but I think you and I discovered pretty early on things we have in common.
Right.
I'm always reminding you, I've never known whether you enjoy this as much as I do. You and I were born the same year.
Yeah.
You and I got married the same year.
Right.
When we sit down with our wives, it's just
We
like
both
people
make good
who
decisions.
share. Well, and not only that, there's something else, which is you and I have spent our life, you know, whatever talents we've had, we've spent in the work of education. You know, I regard you as a teacher more than a coach.
Yeah, thank you.
Your work is about, you know, why is college the right thing for you? Because people, just when they're coming up to the fullness of their powers, you take the best talent you could find, and then you try to help people deliver on that talent to the highest extent they can. That's what a teacher does.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, I think the other thing we have in common is we've been at two unbelievable institutions, you at Yale and me
you
at West Point.
Yeah, and then I'm also always reminding you that Yale played West Point in my senior year of
Yes.
college.
Yeah.
And my college roommate, who was a Polish-American basketball player, Frank Wisniewski, played against you.
Yeah, I think we won.
I think you did, but the score wasn't as big as it.
I think.
I think you did.
Yeah.
I think you did.
And
But who's counting?
we were at that time because we had to make the NIT.
That's right.
You know, I tell fellow coaches too that, you know, they should spend time, you know, with their athletic director, and if their president gives them time, and that's one of the things that I'm very thankful about. I hear from other coaches, and they say, you know, my president would never spend time with me. And so, I mean, what is in your?
I spend time with you because I admire you, and I spend time with you because I enjoy
Yeah,
you.
but you spend time.
I spend time with a million people. I mean, because you're not the only coach I spend time with.
I
right?
know that. That's what I mean. And yeah, I think at this time when our athletic department
Right.
and at Duke
That's right.
is kind of a golden time. I know that the economy hasn't been great or whatever, but we've held our own.
Yes, we have.
And with
That's right.
Kevin White,
That's right.
yourself, David Cutcliffe,
Yourself.
Joanne,
Sure, Joanne.
you know, and our other coaches, I
That's
just
right.
think it's an amazing time. And I want to thank you for spending time with us today. And but more importantly, for being a great friend and an amazing leader for this great university. You know,
Thank you very much. And I reciprocate all those sentiments, you may be sure.
Yeah,
You know
so,
I do.
Well, this was a very special show for me, and thank you so much for being on.
What a pleasure.
Yeah,
What a pleasure.
and I hope it gave our viewers some insight into, one, the relationship that
That's right.
we have, but also what sports has with our great university. So thank you very much.
Well,
for
it was a
being-
great chat, and
Thank
best
you.
of luck for the rest
All
of the
right,
great season.
thank you, President
Okay, take
Brodhead.
care.
Produced by Duke University. Online at duke.edu.